Okay. Hello and welcome to today's session, everyone. Our session is Beyond the Basics Advanced Libby Features. This 1 hour session has been designed to support professional development for your library staff and help everyone feel comfortable with more intermediate and advanced features of the Libby app. We're so happy to have you here with us today. And we also want to take a moment to give a big thank you to both Darlene and Tina Marie for helping to plan and coordinate this session with us. I believe at least one or maybe both of them has been promoted to a panelist. So I'll just give a moment if there's anything that they want to say to the group. But if not, we can move on.
Hi, everyone. It's Darlene. I will defer if Tina Marie is on and wants to say anything. Otherwise, I'll just do a few housekeeping wrap-up items at the very end, if that's okay.
Perfect. And it looks like maybe Tina Marie raised her hand. Lauren, I'm not sure if you had a chance to promote Tina Marie.
Yeah, let me try it one more time.
Thanks.
That is a nice hand feature.
Yeah.
I'm going to just allow to talk real quick.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yay! Yeah, I got the chat and then I couldn't respond.
Oh, we know how that goes.
I would just like to say thank you so much to Overdrive for hosting this training for us today. This is part of the strategic planning training that the eBuckles Library eBuckles Committee puts on with the Buckles office, which Darlene will talk to you about at the end. And thank you so much for coming. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tina Marie. All right. So with that, I'll introduce myself and I'll also introduce some of my colleagues. My name is Katie Blackman, and I am the training team lead here at Overdrive. And here in this picture, I am with one of my fur babies, Special Agent Dale Cooper. Shout out to anyone in the audience who gets that Twin Peaks reference. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Lauren Bida, an experienced product trainer who has trained libraries and patrons all over the world, including on a tour with Overdrive's digital bookmobile. And you'll hear more from Lauren in just a bit. I also want to introduce your Overdrive team. You hopefully are familiar with all of them, but just to make sure you know who to contact for what, Nick Copera is your account manager and is your go-to resource for all things Overdrive. You can contact Nick for questions ranging from your budget to annual reporting, adding new features or formats, and more. And then next up, we have Bart Kalnay, who is your product support specialist. Bart can provide assistance with technical questions, MARC record support, authentication, marketing, and more. And third, we have Alicia Adams, your digital content librarian. Alicia was actually able to join us today, so she'll be helping to monitor and answer questions using Zoom's Q&A feature, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. And as your digital content librarian, Alicia is here to help with all things related to curation and title merchandising. She can help with recommended reads or cart creation and is a wonderful resource for title recommendations and anything in that realm. Now, a few housekeeping items before we get started. First, there will be some opportunities for interaction and for you to check your understanding using polls and chat. So we thank you in advance for participating and we look forward to hearing from you. Next, when it comes to questions, you can use Zoom's Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen where it says Q&A, and you can ask questions there throughout. We do just ask that because Alicia is kindly answering the questions that you be patient as it may take her some time to respond. We will also call, if we have time at the end, we can go through any questions that weren't answered through that Q&A. You can also adjust closed captions under the Show Captions button. Note that it's possible the captions will not be 100% accurate, but we thank you for your understanding. And then very importantly, we are recording today's session, and you'll receive a follow-up email around this time tomorrow with a link to the recording and a PDF copy of the presentation. That way you can share it with others or refer back to it if you need a refresher on any of this information. So at this time, I mentioned there'd be some engagement, so we want to hear from you all. And we're going to start with a check-in poll, which I'll launch here in just a moment. So to help us gauge where everyone is in the audience, we're going to ask you, when it comes to Libby, what do you most identify with in terms of your knowledge? Do you feel like you are a novice? Do you have intermediate, advanced, or expert level knowledge? There's no right or wrong answer here. We just want to kind of gauge where everyone's at. All right, and I'll just give it a few more seconds in 3, 2, 1. All right, so it seems like most folks are feeling either at that novice or intermediate level, with a few being advanced. So that's a great place for everyone to be. And hopefully by the end of this session, everyone will walk away feeling a little bit more comfortable than where you started. Okay, so for our agenda today, we're going to start with an overview of Libby, the library reading app, and then we'll delve into some intermediate and advanced level features, including tips for searching for content, managing loans and holds, creating and managing tags, and adjusting app settings. Then we'll review some of the top support questions, and I also want to give a big thank you to everyone who answered a question during registration to let us know what topics you are most interested in, as that really helped us form our agenda today. And with that, I'm going to transition to Lauren. She'll provide a brief overview of Libby, and then we'll delve into some of those topics.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So we're going to start just with a quick overview to level set, make sure we're all starting from the same place. Now, with the Libby app, it takes just a few taps to find, borrow, and enjoy a title. Within the Buckles Consortium, users can explore ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, and some Advantage libraries do offer Libby Extras. These are services like the Great Courses or Indie Flicks. Now, Libby is available from the App Store on your iOS, Android, and Amazon Fire devices, and it can be accessed from any modern web browser by going to libbyapp.com. And Libby is also compatible on a variety of devices like Apple CarPlay, so you can listen in the car, Android Auto, Sonos speakers, Amazon Kindle, and more. So when we're speaking about e-readers, on the next slide here, I want to show you some of the different options that you have available with Libby. Users in the US can borrow most ebooks through the Libby app, and they can send it to their Amazon Kindle e-reader, like that black and white Kindle Paperwhite. Users who have an Amazon Fire tablet, those are tablets with internet access, there's games, it's in color. From there, you can download apps directly, and you can download the Libby app on there. And then if you have anyone with a Kobo device, users can actually borrow Overdrive ebooks directly from their Kobo e-reader. Now we're going to highlight Kindle shortly, but we do have a QR code here and a hyperlink when you get the PDF of additional how-to videos outlining these experiences if you'd like to learn a little bit more. Okay, so on the next slide, we're going to do a quick refresher of the onboarding experience for first-time users. This process only takes a minute or two, so it is really nice and easy. So if we press play, Libby is going to guide you through the setup process. You're going to search for your library. In this case, I'm going to search for Buckles. And then you sign in with your library card. You'll also be prompted to input a PIN. For demo purposes today, I have signed in with a test card, as you see here. And that's it. Next, we can find a book that we're interested in, like If I Have to Be Haunted. Tap borrow if it's available. and confirm. And then we can open up the audiobook and begin listening right away directly within the Libby app. I have it muted right now so you won't hear that audio playing. So as you can see, it literally took us 1 minute to sign into Libby for the first time and open up a book and begin reading. Okay, so if we go to the next slide, I wanted to talk about the Kindle experience because some people within registration said they were interested in learning a little bit more about this process. So reading on your Kindle device is a popular way to read ebooks by sending it to your Kindle. And we're going to follow the same steps as borrowing a book with one slight difference. So if we press play on this video here, I might search for a particular title I have in mind, like Gone Girl. When we borrow the book, we are going to confirm, and we can choose to read with Kindle. So now it sends you to Amazon.com. We tap that yellow button to get the library book, and then it will send to your connected Kindle device. So something to be mindful here when sending an ebook to your Kindle, your users will need to know their Amazon email and password. So that could be just one stumbling block the first time you're sending a book to your Kindle. So that's the process for those Kindle e-readers, right? But if someone has a Kindle Fire tablet, they don't have to go through that. They could just put the Libby app on their device directly. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Katie to get us started with some of these advanced features.
All right, thanks so much, Lauren, for that helpful demo. We know that Kindle is a very popular format, so wanted to make sure that that was covered. Now let's start with our first deep dive topic, which is searching for content. That's where it all starts, right? You want folks to come into your digital library and walk away with something that they want to read. So we'll start with an overview of some search options, and then I'll share my screen for a live demo to review what we've learned together. All right, so as I mentioned, there are many ways for users to explore your library's catalog, from running a search using the spyglass icon in the lower left to tapping curated lists from your library's home screen in the app, and more. One specialized way to explore content is through guides, and you're seeing those in the screenshot on the right here where it says guides, and it's kind of in the middle bottom of the page. Guides appear on your library's home screen, and they are dedicated to a specific topic, genre, or audience. Once you tap into a guide, you can explore lists that are related to the topic of that guide. For example, Buckles has guides for kids, teens, magazines, and mystery and thriller titles. Guides are ideal for readers who are interested in these specialized areas of your catalog. And then on the back end, your library can work with your Overdrive account team to create additional guides for any topics you'd like. We see libraries create them for topical events or initiatives for their library. I know that when 2020 hit, we had some libraries create guides that were around like homeschooling materials, for example, or they might have specific author spotlights that they want to put into a guide. So there are some really creative applications. So guides you can kind of think of as a umbrella way to filter the library's catalog that's kind of set up by the library. But there's another way for users to filter, and that's using the filtering feature in Libby. Filters are a way to narrow down what content a user sees in the app in their own instance of the app, so it won't impact what other users are seeing. It's really just for that personal use. For example, a user might be in the mood to listen to an audiobook, so they can use a filter to see only audiobooks in the collection. Users can also filter by things like availability, subject, audience, and more. I'm someone who loves reading thriller ebooks, so I often apply the format and subject filters. And then if I want to make sure I find something that's instantly available, I'll use an availability filter as well to find my next great read. And again, we'll walk all through all of this in a demo as well in just a moment. What I also love about filters is that you can pin them. Pinning a filter or a sort will make it persistent throughout the app. For example, I could use the available now filter and then pin it, and a popularity sort and then pin that to easily find popular content that is instantly available to borrow. That way, anytime I run another search or if I come back to Libby, I would already have those filter and sorts pinned or saved for me. Another way that pins are useful is for audience. If a younger reader is using Libby, their parent or guardian might want to pin the juvenile audience filter as an example so that that younger reader only sees age-appropriate titles when they're browsing on their own. Then from search results and lists, users can easily see a title's availability. If a title is available to borrow, you'll see the borrow action to the right of a title. If a title has a wait list, it will instead show the place a hold option. For users who belong to more than one library, like in the screenshot here where I have added both Buckles as well as Belle Isle Public Library, which is a demo library, I could tap the library card icon and then see the title's availability across all my saved libraries. And you might be wondering what happens if you search for a title that is not yet in your library's collection. That's where another search tip comes into play, and it is called deep search, which is what we're highlighting on the screen here. When a user runs a search that returns no results, Libby automatically expands into what we call a deep search. A deep search shows relevant results from all of the user's saved libraries, as well as the wider Overdrive catalog. If none of a user's libraries has a title in the collection, but it is available in the wider Overdrive catalog, the user will see an option that says Notify Me instead of Borrow or Place a Hold. When they tap Notify Me, they'll be able to tag that title and then be notified if it's ever available in the future. We'll talk more about Notify Me tags a little bit later during our presentation today. In addition to Libby automatically running a deep search when there are no relevant results in the user's active library, users can also manually enable deep search when their original search returns fewer than 100 results. And on the back end, any library staff with access to tools in Overdrive Marketplace, which is our shopping and admin portal, can see anonymized data about Notify Me tags to help inform collection development. And then our last tip under the umbrella of searching for content is actually about sharing content with others. Let's say there's a book you really want your friends to read. You can use the share icon on a title's details page, which you'll see here to the left of this title in the tablet view. And that would create a link that you can share with a friend or share on social media. And from the share link, users can learn more about the title and see which of their libraries they can borrow it from in Libby. So with all that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment while I pull up Libby. And we will dive into Libby to see some of this in action ourselves. Let me just make sure that I share the right screen, and I'm actually going to turn my camera off for this part just because I'll be looking at multiple monitors and I don't want you to just be seeing the side of my face. All right. So pull up Libby and share. Okay, so you should be seeing Libby on my screen here. And here I am at the home screen of Buckles. I am in my web browser, but I have it kind of in a tablet view so you can see what Libby would look like at that size. So here I am at the home screen of your library's collection. I'm seeing some, I see the filter button at the top, as well as some pre-populated filters that I can apply. And then I see the library's curated lists and automated lists. And of course, I see guides. So if you recall, guides were the first search tip that we mentioned, and your library system has the 4 guides set up here. So if I tap into a particular guide, let's say I want to look in kids, then you'll see that this has curated content specifically for younger readers. And any library staff with access to Marketplace can curate these lists, and that is another thing that Alicia would be happy to help with. So you can keep scrolling to see some different titles here. And as I mentioned, so you'll see that this has a filter applied for juvenile titles, since that is what would be available in a kid's guide. And if I wanted to, I can also pin that filter so that it would apply throughout the whole app. All right, I'm going to unapply that filter, and I'll go back to your library's home screen. Now I'm going to tap on the main filter button. It has this little balloon here alerting me to that there's something I want to check out. So here there's a description of what filters are, and I can press OK if I don't want to see that again. But then you can see available filters by subject, format, availability. You can also sort in a variety of ways, then audience, language, and then compatibility for ebooks. So as I mentioned, I'm someone who really likes to read ebook thrillers. So I'm going to filter down by subject equals thriller and format equals books. And I also want to see what's currently available. And if you notice that this number changes as I apply those filters, so that way it's showing me as I narrow down the collection how many results I will get. So I'll tap that to then see everything that meets those search parameters. And as I mentioned, I can also pin any of these sorts or filters. So for example, if I always just want to see available content in the app, I can pin that. And if I always only want to see books, I can pin that as well. Then just a note that certain filters cannot be pinned, as it would create too few titles to populate the app, especially on the home screen. So for example, subject is not one that you can pin, but you can still use that filter. All right, I'm going to then just show where you're seeing here the borrow option. And since everything here is available now, you won't see anything that shows place a hold. But if I remove that filter, then you'll see some options that have place a hold. I'm actually reading Horror Movie right now, so for anyone who is a fan of horror, I highly recommend this book. I read half of it yesterday in one sitting. It was so good. If I tap on the library icon, I can see the availability across my saved libraries. So here I can see there's one copy in the Buckles collection, but there are a number of people waiting for it. And the language in 2 lanes refers to Advantage Plus, which is a program your library system participates in to share copies of titles with the consortium that are in individual Advantage accounts. So that's why you might see that language here, letting users know that there are a few different lines that they're waiting in. And then I can see my other saved library here, Belle Isle Public Library, does not have any copies of this title. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about if I wanted to search for a title or I wanted to read a title and it's not in the library's collection. I'm going to go ahead and remove my filters here just to kind of start fresh. And another way to search is using this spyglass icon, and that will bring up my search screen. Okay, so if I run a search for, I'm going to stick with the horror theme and I'm going to search for Rachel Harrison. Oh, my light just went out in my training room. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, so now I'm seeing some titles from Rachel Harrison. And I see about 5 results here. And then if I scroll down though, I can see that deep searching is available in the filters of the list. So that means that because this search returned fewer than 100 results, I can run that deep search to search across all my saved libraries and the wider Overdrive catalog. So if I tap on that prompt and I scroll down, I'll see that deep search option. And then if I tap there, you'll see that the number of results just went way up. So if I tap that, I will see additional titles. So here, there's a title, The Return, which is available in the Belle Isle Public Library collection. So I can see that I can borrow it immediately from there. Or if I continue to scroll down, I'll see that there is a title here, So Thirsty, which is not in any of my library's collections, so it has that Notify Me option. If I tap Notify Me, it brings up a prompt to let me know this title is not in any of my library's collections, but I can tag it to be alerted if it's ever added in the future. And then I also see this little explainer text letting me know that adding a tag to a title doesn't guarantee that my library will acquire it, but Libby does share my interest anonymously with my libraries, and I will know right away if it's ever added in the future. I'm not actually going to tag that title as I don't want to interfere with anything for your library's tags data, but it would just be one additional tap there to tap on that smart tag Notify Me. All right. And last, let me go to a title details page here. And if I wanted to share this title with a friend or share it on social media, I could tap on the share icon. The options that come up when you tap share will vary based on the device that you're on. So if I were on a mobile device, it would sync up with some of the mobile apps that would make sense to share a title on, like Instagram, for example. And if I tap copy link, I'll have a link here, and then I can go to that link in a web browser. And this would be a link that I could share with a friend to let them know, hey, I borrowed this title in Libby. You should really check it out. It gives more information about the title. And then it would show what libraries near me have the title in their collection. Okay. So with that, I think that was everything for this demo. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment while I go back to our presentation. And I'll also turn my video back on. And I will share again. All right, so now we have a knowledge check. So using polls again, we're going to kind of see what we learned from this section. So let's say that a patron is interested in only seeing audiobooks, or sorry, only seeing available audiobooks in the collection. Which feature or features would best help with their searches? Would it be filters and pins, a deep search, guides, or tapping the library card icon? And we'll keep this open for just a few more seconds here. All right, we'll end it in 3, 2, 1. And we're doing great here. You can see that it is filters and pins. All right, so those would be the most helpful features for that user. With that, I will hand things over to Lauren to talk about managing your loans and holds.
Thanks, Katie. All right, so if we go to the next screen, once a patron borrows a title or places a title on hold, they can manage it on their shelf. So if we click again on the shelf, this is where users can view their loans and the exact time and date that their loan is due, which is really convenient. And a little tip here, the exact time that you place the title on hold, like 8:27 a.m., that's when it's going to expire as well on the last day of your loan period. Next, one benefit of digital books is that they are automatically returned on their due dates, so your patrons never have to worry about fines. If a user does finish a title early, however, they can manually return it before its due date. That is a really nice courtesy, especially if it's a bestseller, a book that a lot of people have on hold. On the next slide, if a user sends a title to their Kindle device, it will also be automatically returned on its due date. But if a user finishes a Kindle book early, they can manually return it, and that must be done on Amazon's website and on their Kindle e-reader. So if we tap, if we click to the animation here, here's a picture of what it would look like on like the Amazon website. They can manually return the title early there. Excellent. Okay, going to the next slide. If users do not finish a title before its due date, they might want to renew it to get some more time. So that renew later button will become active 72 hours before its due date. If it's too early, like we see in this example here, it will be grayed out and your users can tap on it for additional information. Now, if you go to renew it and someone does have the book on hold at that time, you will just be added to the end of the wait list. On the next slide, we're now going to shift into holds. We all get a lot of us get very excited when a hold becomes available. And when it does, users will receive a notification and they'll have 72 hours to take action. You can borrow it, deliver it later, or cancel it altogether. If you forget to take action during that 72-hour pickup window, that's okay. It will be scheduled for a later delivery automatically. Automatic rescheduling does happen once per hold. So if I get that notification again, hey, your hold is ready, and I don't take action a second time, that hold will be canceled. That way we can keep the hold list moving forward for everybody else. Great. On the next slide, if a user is not ready to borrow their hold at this time, maybe they have a lot going on in summer, they don't have time to read right now, you can deliver it later. So delivering a hold later preserves a user's hold on the title and it passes the available copy to the next person in line. And then my final bullet point is that patrons, thank you, is that patrons may choose to be proactive when they are managing their holds. For example, when they're still waiting in line, they can suspend a hold before it's ready to borrow, if they know they don't want it at that estimated date. So suspending a hold moves a user up the title's wait list without the title becoming available to them. If they reach number 1 in line, they'll be in the first position to get the book once their suspension ends. So suspending and delivering holds is the same thing. The only difference, suspension you can do while you're still in the wait list. You're being proactive. Delivering later happens when the hold is available for you. Okay, so I'm also going to hop out into a live demo. Here we go, and just walk you through there we go, walk you through some of those steps we just mentioned. So I'm also in Buckles. I'm going to go ahead and go to my shelf. We start on the shelf summary page. This is where I can see a snapshot of my loans and holds. And I can specifically go into my loans page. Here I see 2 titles that I currently have borrowed. This top icon is my download status. I am in a web browser today, so titles can't be downloaded. But if I was on a device like a tablet or a phone, I would see and be able to toggle on downloading a book or streaming it. We can also manage our loan. A few things here, you can view your reading journey, which is any notes, and bookmarks that you took and how much you've read throughout the title. You can renew the loan, and you can manually return a book early. So for example, I can return this book on camping, and you do get a fun little bouquet of flowers as a thank you. So we start again on our shelf summary page. Next, let's take a look at our holds. Now I have two holds here. This hold is available for me to borrow. So from here, I can borrow the book right away, I can deliver it later, or I can go in and manage my hold, and I can cancel the hold altogether if I don't want it anymore. So I'll actually go ahead and borrow this book. Well, no, actually, I'm in a buckle, so I don't want to use up any of your loans. But your users can borrow that if they were ready for it. Now, the second item I have here, this title I still am on the wait list for. I have about 2 weeks left. And in particular, I can see where I am in line. I'm third in line. There's so many copies and people waiting. And once again, that language around 2 lanes with Advantage Plus. So basically, this is letting users know your place in line might vary a little bit because of this. Okay, and so in this case, I'm going to manage the hold. I'll go ahead and suspend. I can suspend this all the way up to 180 days. And then there's some additional increments here as well. And then confirm. Okay, and the last thing I actually want to highlight on the shelf summary page is your magazine rack will live here as well. So in addition to ebooks and audiobooks, your users have access to magazines. Magazines are fantastic because they do not count towards your loan limit, and they are simultaneous use. So an unlimited number of users can read magazines at the same time. Magazine rack will not appear until you start reading your first magazine. And then if I tap on the plus sign here, this will take me to my newsstand where you can quickly explore all the magazines in your digital collection. Let's say I open one up, opens automatically. When I'm finished reading, I just tap back. And I'll be asked if I would like to keep this for 7 days or subscribe. So maybe I just want it on my shelf for 7 days to finish reading. If I subscribe, I will be notified when the next issue is available. So I'll go ahead and subscribe to this one. You can add a notify me tag, return to the shelf, and we see this latest issue is on my magazine rack. So to summarize, your patrons can manage their loans and holds on their shelf in Libby. So once again, we are going to return to the PowerPoint for a knowledge check. So here we ask, a patron's hold becomes available, but they are not ready to read it. Which action should they take? We'll open that poll. Here we go. Thank you, Katie. I see the answers flying through. Excellent. We have 80% of the vote in. So we will go ahead and close the poll in 3, 2, and 1 and share those results. And everybody gets an A+, deliver later is the correct answer. All right, I'm going to pass it back to Katie.
All right, thanks, Lauren. I am definitely a big fan of the deliver later feature. It's such a lifesaver when all of my holds come in at once because that's what always happens, right? And so Lauren referred to something called a notify me tag during her demo, and you might be wondering what tags are. Really, they are a must use for any bibliophile. So let's explore them a little bit together. If you're not familiar, tags are a way to categorize books however you'd like. You can tag a title from search results or title details or really anywhere you encounter a book in Libby. When you go to tag your first title, like in the screenshot here, you'll see a pop-up that walks you through the process to help you learn more. And there are two kinds of tags in Libby, regular tags and smart tags. Let's talk a little bit about both, starting with regular tags. You can use regular tags to create different categories of titles manually. For example, book club picks, titles you want to share with a friend, beach reads, vampire romance, etc. Here on the screen, you can see I'm creating a book club tag with a short description. So you can really get as granular as you'd like and then manually add titles to those regular tags that you create. While a regular tag lets you get super granular with categorizing books, you might also want to use what Libby calls smart tags. Smart tags are special tags that can automatically keep track of certain titles for you. There are 4 types of smart tags. So let's talk about each. The borrowed smart tag is automatically applied to any books you borrow in Libby. You can also manually add the borrowed smart tag to books you read outside of Libby if you want to keep track of everything in one place. I'm someone who does that. If I switch between digital and physical, I'll make sure to add that borrowed smart tag in Libby to keep track of everything. Similar to the borrowed smart tag, the sampled smart tag keeps track of titles you've sampled in the app. On the screenshot here, you're seeing the example of titles I've added to the sampled smart tag by default, because of course we want to have a little bit of fun. The default icon for the sampled smart tag is a piece of cake, so you can think about sampling different cake, but of course you can change that to a different icon or title if you would like. Next, the Notify Me smart tag allows you to get get notifications when new issues of a tagged magazine come out, which is what Lauren was showing you with that subscribe option. Or you can also use Notify Me to be notified when your library adds a specific title of interest to the collection that you discovered through that deep search option that we've referred to earlier. When you find a title that isn't owned by any of your libraries, you apply that Notify Me smart tag, and then you'll get a push, email, or in-app notification depending on your preferences if it's ever added in the future. And then last, we have the Overdrive wish list smart tag. This tag is most useful for users who had a wish list in the legacy Overdrive app that we sunset last year, or if they still have a wish list on your library's Overdrive powered website. The wishlist smart tag helps them automatically sync those wish lists from legacy experiences into Libby. So you can find all of your tags from your shelf, and from there you can filter your tags list. So you can filter by regular or smart tags. And then you can also filter down further once you're within a tag to see titles that are available to borrow immediately. We're actually planning some updates in the near future to make it even easier to find your tags, so be on the lookout for some updates from Overdrive. And one of my favorite ways to use tags is to actually create lists of titles through tags to share with friends and family. For example, my mom belongs to a book club, and whenever she asks me for recommendations, I create a tag of titles I think she'd be interested in, and I export it so I can email it to her. That way, she can easily get links to all of the titles I've tagged for her in Libby, and it helps with her book club selection. The latest book her group read was Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll, and I highly recommend it to those who haven't read it yet. So with that, I'm going to go back to Libby. Let me stop sharing for a moment so that I can reshare. And we will go through a little demo of the tags experience. Okay, so here I am back at the home screen of the Buckles collection. And let's say that I want to explore a curated or automated list. So I'm going to look at the just added books list. And if I find something that looks like it might be good to read. Let's say 15 Summers Later. I like the cover of that book. I can tap on tag and you'll see any tags that you've already created. So I can easily add it to an existing list for a tag, or you can create a new tag. So I'm going to create a tag for beach reads. This looks like it would be a good beach read, books for my beach vacation. So you can add that title and description. You can use emojis if you'd like, and then just tap create. And then you'll see it has that beach reads tag on it. So then as I scroll, if I see any other titles that I might want to add to that list, then I can apply that same tag. So I'm just going to, let's pick this tag here, or this title here, the Royal Librarian, and I will add that to my beach reads tag as well. All right, so those are regular tags. So now let me go back to the home screen and let's see. This book catches my eye, so I'm going to read a sample of it. I'm a big fan of fairy tales, so this might be a good one. All right, so I read a few pages of the sample, and then you can see that this sample tag was automatically applied to this title, and it is that smart tag again because it has some type of automation to it. Now let's go through and add a notify me tag to a title. So if you recall, to add a notify me tag, I'm going to search for a title that isn't yet in the library's collection. Of course, when I'm searching, I might not know that it's not available, but I'm going to look for The Mirror by Nora Roberts. And you'll see that Libby automatically applied that deep search in this case because there were no titles that matched my search result that were relevant. So here you can see that notify me option appear, and I can tap notify me, and I can add it to that notify me smart tag. I'm not actually going to go ahead and do that as I don't want to do anything that would be reflected in your library's notify me tags data. It's similar for magazines. If I go back to the home screen and if I look at magazines, I'm trying to be healthier myself. So let's see, I wanted to find out about new issues of the Healthy Brain Cookbook. I can tap that subscribe option and it will take me through. I can create a new tag for this and I might want to do notify me. Oh, too long. So I'll do that as subscriptions. And magazines. And I'll then add it. And I'll show you in just a few moments here how to add this into or make this a smart tag, because Libby didn't seem to do that automatically for me with this particular title. All right, so then if I go to my shelf, which is my book stack icon, I'll see my loans, my holds, and my tags. So if I tap tags here, you'll be able to filter down by regular tags or smart tags. Let me go ahead and open this. And right now it is a regular tag, but I'm going to change this to that notify me tag. So that way I will be notified automatically if that title is, or the next issue of that title. So that's another way to do it if Libby doesn't automatically prompt you to do the notify me smart tag for that title. Here I have a list of books that I tagged for my mom, and you'll see I can filter that down in a few ways. I can tap on the filter icon to sort it or to format it, or to select the format, for instance. I can also do that at the top, and I can filter by available now. And then I can very importantly choose to, I can rename the tag, I can export the tag, or I can delete the tag. If I choose export, I'll get some different options for how that's formatted. If I select table, for example, this will give me a nice link that I can easily share with my mom. All of these links would be live to the title so that she can read more about the description and choose what would be good for her book club. All right, so now let's go back to the slide deck and we'll do another quick knowledge check. Oh, I need to make sure I share my screen again. All right, so our next knowledge check. Which tag helps keep patrons informed when the next issue of a magazine is released? I'll go ahead and launch that poll. So the options are a regular tag, a wish list tag, a notify me tag, or a borrowed tag. So which one would help keep patrons informed of the next issue of a magazine being released? All right, and we have about 85% of folks who responded. So we'll close this in 3, 2, 1 and share results. And the answer is the notify me tag. So again, notify me will let you know if a title of interest is added to the collection or when your the next issue of a magazine that you subscribe to is available in the collection. All right, now I'll hand it over to Lauren to go through our last content section.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, tags, at least at Overdrive, they're like a very popular feature. All right, so let's talk about how you can really customize the experience with app settings. Now, on the next slide, where can you find these settings? This is found on the menu, the main menu in the footer, under a help and support section. So as we can see here, there's a variety of ways users can configure Libby to work the way that they want. And we're going to cover a few of them today, starting with accessibility features. So with accessibility, your patrons can turn on several settings to meet their needs, including like reducing color, reducing the motion, and more. You might also be wondering about screen readers. And while they're not mentioned on this page, Libby does work with iOS VoiceOver, Android TalkBack, and desktop screen readers like NVDA and JAWS. So your patrons can browse and borrow titles from their library. Through those screen readers, they'll be able to read ebooks and listen to audiobooks. On the next slide, patrons can customize their reading preferences. When users are enjoying titles in Libby, they can decide to open books in the Libby app, which is what I do, or you can send it to a Kindle device if you have a Kindle, like a Kindle Paperwhite. If a user always wants to send ebooks to their Kindle compatible device, they can do that and they can set their preference to Kindle. That way, moving forward, it is a streamlined borrowing process. They won't have this intermediary screen asking where they would like their book sent. And just as a reminder, all audiobooks will open in Libby, as that's not a format supported in most Kindle e-readers. Only Kindle compatible ebooks can be sent to Kindle e-readers. On the next slide, users can customize how and when they get notified about events in Libby. So for example, I am someone who does not like push notifications on my phone. I check it often. I feel a lot more relaxed and peaceful when I'm not getting dings all day about the news or this and that. So I turn that off personally, but I do like getting the notification within the app. So whenever I open up Libby, I know exactly when my book is about to expire or my loan is available. So Libby really allows you to customize how you want to be notified. And for awareness, users can get push notifications on Android and iOS devices. So that push notification is like what you see on that screenshot on the left. And then if you do use Libby in your web browser, you can get an in-app or email notification. On the next slide, Users can customize the navigation bar in the footer. By default, you're just going to see the icons, but you can enable this navigation so users will see exactly what those mean. And that can be really helpful for users who might forget what those icons represent. And lastly, your patrons can display the Libby app itself in one of 15 different languages. And this translates the words in the app itself. It does not translate the books. For example, if Buckles offered the book Funny Story by Emily Henry in English, users can only read it in English, no matter what language, I forgot the word, the app is set to. Okay, so for time's sake, let's move on to our knowledge check. And for this one, if a patron prefers to send all books to their Kindle e-reader, which setting should they adjust? So take a moment to answer that one. All right, we got answers coming through. Give you another moment. We'll close this poll in 3, 2, and 1, and share those results. So the correct answer is reading preferences. Within the settings, that's where you can say you want to send all Kindle compatible ebooks to your Kindle e-reader. Excellent job, everyone. All right, this time I'm going to pass it to Katie to kind of wrap us up with some frequently asked questions.
Thanks, Lauren. So, as someone interested in learning another language, sometimes it's fun to change that Libby app interface to see how well I can navigate. As Lauren mentioned, our last topic is a review of our top support questions. To best support your end users, it's great to know some answers to these FAQs. And on this slide, we'll walk through 5 top support questions. Since we are running a little short on time, we'll keep this high level, but know that everything that is linked to here will be a live link in the PDF, and we'll link out to Libby Help where you can learn more information. So the majority of users who write in, the top support question that they have is, why can't I sign in? That may be because their library card is blocked or expired. So for that instance, they'll typically need to contact your library directly or go online to remember those library credentials and to make sure that everything is up to date, not blocked or expired or with fines. Second, users often ask how to add multiple libraries or cards into the Libby app. While we didn't go over that today, we do cover this in our basic Getting Started with Libby webinar that you're welcome to watch on demand. And we also have quick, less than a few minute videos that go over that topic as well that we'll include information about in just a moment. Third, users often ask if titles can be downloaded for offline use, and the answer is yes, as long as they are using the app on a mobile device, so a phone or tablet. And when they're on their shelf, if they have a cloud icon, then the title is being streamed only, but they can tap that to download the title. Once it is downloaded, they will see a check mark icon letting them know that it is downloaded to their device. Then fourth, sometimes users need some general troubleshooting tips, and our Libby Help website has a whole section of articles related to troubleshooting specific scenarios, so we recommend checking those out and bookmarking them if you're someone who typically helps on the front lines there. And then last, how can I get more help? And the answer, as you can probably imagine from everything I just shared, is to go to help.libbyapp.com. And we do have a QR code here to go right to that site. And as I mentioned, it will be included in that follow-up email. All right, Lauren, do you want to go over some next steps before we do our final engagement and close it out?
So just following today's session, we do encourage you to explore these intermediate and advanced features on your own. And we believe the best way of doing this is to engage in the app itself, have it on your personal device if you don't already, or If you have extra time at your desk, you can open up Libby in the web browser. And I wonder, Katie, if we should bring in Darlene to share some final comments if anyone has to head off right now, and then we could do kind of a takeaway for those who have a few minutes.
Perfect. I will go ahead and I'll stop sharing my screen in case Darlene wants to come on.
Hi,
Or
everyone.
Tina Marie.
I don't think I can put my video on, but I think I've got the audio on. Okay.
Yep.
So if anybody, sorry, got a frog in my throat. If anyone has any questions, please type them into the Q&A box. And while you're thinking, I'll just do a couple minute wrap up here. First, I would like to thank Katie and Lauren for a wonderful class with so much great information. I know it's going to be very helpful to everybody who deals with patrons and tries to provide that help desk experience. So thank you so much for a great presentation. Very well done, very well explained, and I know the recording and the slides will be very helpful. So as Tina Marie mentioned, this is part of Buckle's centralized training for mandated services, e-content. We've had a number of Overdrive classes with Nick and talking about Overdrive Marketplace. Tina Marie has conducted Cost per Circ, and Alicia actually conducted the curation training at the beginning of the month. So we definitely appreciate all the Overdrive support, and we look forward to future training in the remainder of the year. I'd like to thank everyone today for taking time out of their day to attend. I know you're all busy, and we appreciate that. As the lady said, there'll be an evaluation that goes out. I'll also be sending you an evaluation form from Buckles. We do need to track that for our professional development. So you will probably receive 2 evaluations. If you could please respond to both, that would be great. And as they said, they'll send you directly the slides and the recording. We'll also be sending you certificates of attendance from Buckles. And I think that's about it. I would like to thank Tina Marie for helping to arrange the training. And again, thanks to Lauren and Katie for a great class.
Thanks so much, Darlene. Tina Marie, was there anything you wanted to add?
Nope, just thank you so much for everybody for attending, and thanks again to Overdrive for a great session.
Great, thank you. All right, Lauren, do you think that we should finish up for anyone who can stay?
Up to you. I almost feel like it's top of the hour. Maybe we'll end it, here.
Okay.
There is one more question in the Q&A. I'm not sure.
Oh, sure. Oh, thank you. Oh, sure. Is there someone we can be referred to with an explanation of the 2 lanes of waiting? Sure. So we can explain that a little bit live here for anyone who wants to stay on, or that is a question that Nick can also help to answer. All right.
I just threw the help article in there as well for anyone who would like to see that.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So before we get back to that question, I am going to just thank everyone again for joining. And as a reminder, you will get a follow-up email tomorrow with a link to the recording as well as the PDF of the presentation. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to stop the recording and then we can answer any outstanding questions. So thank you all.